Well, good morning, my Tuesday King family. How is everybody today? I hope you are doing well. It's happy Saturday. So today we should enjoy. I guess they're having more blackouts in Russia as I've lost Daria again for a few days, but it's not her. It's simply they're blocking Telegram because they don't want the U.S. and the CIA fucking around there. All right. All right. So we'll do a lot today. Um, Watching some poker stuff. Apparently, there's guys that are taking a long time to play. But this is mostly in tournaments, mostly actually being very intelligent, hoping somebody busts before them and the payout goes high. What do I mean by that? Well, in a tournament, as people go out, there's less people left and you make more money. So let's say the top 100 get paid, but 190 get paid, let's say 10 grand, and then 90 to 80 get paid maybe 20 grand. So if you're number 91, you're not in a hurry to play your cards because you're hoping that two people will bust and then you get a higher payout when you're number, 19 or whatever number I was talking. So it behooves you to play slower to get the higher payout, to let other people go out and you move up the list. And you got like guys like Daniel Negreanu crying about it because the guy's waiting 5 minutes at the table to make a call. That's part of the game. You can't fuck with part of the game. If you're going to say I'm paying 190, 1,090 to 80, 2,000, and I'm at 91, of course my incentive is to let two people bust and then I come in. Daniel doesn't get it because he's a high roller and he's like, I'm playing to win the tournament. I don't need 90 to, 100 to 90 and 90 to 80. And I don't care about that. I'm playing to win. And I don't want to sit here for 5 minutes waiting for the guy to call to hopefully other people get eliminated. Well, he's dead wrong. That's the nature of the beast you've created. You want to have these tournaments that pay off this amount, you have to change the incentive. Otherwise, the incentive is clearly on the guy to take his time. Is it bad poker? No, it's actually Exactly the way you should play. You should take as much time as you can to let other people get eliminated so you can make more money. That's the whole point of the tournament. You're there to make money. So Daniel Negreanu is 100% wrong. It's one thing if it's a cash game, then you don't care about who gets out. Then yes, I would agree with him. In a tournament, absolutely, it's exactly what you should be doing, taking as much time as possible. Now, the counter to that is the blinds and antes go up. So if you're sitting around waiting 5 minutes, your next point is, but then the blinds and antes go up. And so you don't want to wait too long. Should you put a time limit in? Absolutely not. This is poker. However, there's two different times. There's the time that I want to analyze the hand. Is he bluffing? What does he have? Should I call? Going through, and he does that. He'll take 5 minutes to figure that out. So there's that figure out problem. This is different. This is strictly a I'm waiting so I can get more. And so that you have two different things. But what do you do with it? And you don't put a time clock in. He wants to put a clock in, which is crazy. I hate the clock because if you put a clock in, I don't want to play. I wouldn't even play because I want to be at my time. I don't want to be, I got 30 seconds to do it. I think that speeds me up and I'm not comfortable with it, and I would never play with it. I'm pretty quick, especially like folding. I'll fold right away. If I have a hand, I know I'm calling, I know I'm raising, I know when I'm getting bluffed and all that stuff, and I would do that. But I think he's wrong there because it is a tournament. And of course, you want other people to break. The only problem is it's the blinds and antes, but the other problem with that is this guy only had one chip left, so therefore he wasn't worried about the blinds and antes. But as long as the rules are you can take as much time. Now, we could call a clock on him, but that's about it. But I don't know. You got to lay out the rules. Is there a solution to this? Not a time clock. I mean, the incentive has to be there, which is normally the blinds go up. So I want to make the hand before the blinds go up. I want to get the cheaper blind. Otherwise, the rules are the rules. I play poker. You put a clock on me, I'll kill you. Basically. All right, let's see what happened yesterday. What's going on in our markets. So we always talk gold and silver first. So if you'll notice, I made a new intro because mine was really old and it was talking about technical analysis, which I can't do as much in football, but that's what I used to do. But things change and I change with it. That's why I'm successful. I don't still go with my trend analysis that doesn't work when there's a new coach and a new, here Mendoza goes to Oakland. Well, you can't use last year's trends. Plus, you got a new coach. So the trends are now you're starting to get Bo Nix in Denver. I can start using his now after 2 years. So that's what you gain from that. But you have to be smart enough to figure that out. Fortunately, I am smart enough to figure out the trend doesn't work or the trend works. But again, it's all about variables and how variables change. All right, so let's look at our gold and silver. We'll get back to all that. We'll have fun. 48.31 is our gold. It was up to 48.80, but at least it ended at 48. So we went through the 45s, through the 46s. Again, it's the slow way up. And then all of a sudden somebody shorts it. And I think it's ridiculous. Silver 80, 83, 80. Silver had hit 82. Again, why did it go down? I guess they make money on the options, playing options. It's ridiculous. Now, let's again talk about the bullshit. and really why we need a gold standard, right? So, uh, in the silver market, the COMEX options and derivatives and the ETFs are 76,400,000 tons of silver. But in the real world, there's only 1,000,002. And that's not even available. That's what there is. We know China's got a huge amount, as does Russia. Putin's swimming pool. He's got gold and silver in the pool. The obviously India and the BRICS countries have a ton of it. So maybe there's 300,000 tons available, maybe at the most, probably less than that. So you have a difference of 75 million tons, which is 32,000 ounces to a ton. That is there. Gold is 4,000,003 tons of paper gold with only 220,000 tons available in physical. So the 1,000,002 and the 200,000 are physical. That's all there is. That's what they dug out of the earth. How do we get 76 million ounces and 4 million or tons? How do we get 76 million tons of silver and 4.3 million tons of gold when there's only 200,000 that exist? And it's mostly gone. Between BRICS, China, Russia, there probably is very little. There's maybe you got 5,000 tons available, maybe, but it doesn't count what we have because we have gold and silver, which is not counted anywhere. So what's the problem here? Well, these Ponzi schemes are, it's the same thing as this clock on poker. What the fuck's going on? How can you have 76 million tons of silver when there's only 1,000,002 available? How do you pay that off? Isn't there a law against selling something you don't own? Well, it's an IOU. It's a paper promise. And see, so as long as nobody asks for the gold, they can keep doing this. And you can see what happened yesterday. Silver was 82. How did it drop to 80? The demand didn't go down, which is what causes prices to go down. So what the fuck's going on here? So anyway, you have with 1,000,002 physical tons of silver and 222,000 physical tons of gold. That's very limited. All right. So we've got to get away from this option bullshit game run by JP Morgan. It's totally illegal. It's totally a Ponzi scheme. We've got to get rid of it. We don't need to, what's it called? I always struggle with this word. Anyway, it's the futures. That's what it is. I knew it comes to me. So we always struggle with, well, it's a future market. There's no future market. Either the physical price is what the physical price is, what somebody's willing to buy it for, is the physical price. Now, what some idiot sits there in Ponzi schemes and sells fake gold that he doesn't have, how is that the real price? So that's why I say this paper price, the physical price is a joke. It's not close to where it should be. The silver goes down to 80 on paper sells. But in the real world, the physical sells is what you go to the grocery store and the steak's $20. You say it's too much. You don't buy it. They put it on sale. But that's not what's happening in gold and silver. That's not what happened in silver yesterday, dropping it from 82 to 80. What the fuck is that? Why do these options control the price? And why is there all this extra 76 million tons of silver when there's only 1.2 million tons available? Why are we letting the 76 million control the price? And the only answer is because it's a Ponzi scheme and it's JP Morgan. Again, the biggest crook of all the bankers. put it in the Federal Reserve, created wars. He finances the defense contractors, and he runs the government. And it's a joke. You're a bank. You're not a fucking government. And so he needs to go to prison, this Jamie Dimon guy, except for he's probably the head of the mafia, and therefore he's not going to put himself in prison. But he needs to go to prison. He needs to get out. We need to get rid of this COMEX because the prices aren't accurate. Now, if you want to buy, they're fine because they're cheap. He's keeping the price down. The $80 silver should be, $800, $900 by now, based on $1.2 million, and based on it being very limited and very highly in demand, which takes you to what is real assets, right? Real assets are mantle cards and Rolexes and Picassos and Van Goghs, because they're very highly demanded in the real assets and they're very limited. So you get a Rolex, there's not a lot of them, and they're very highly demanded, and they go for 100,000, 200,000, and they always hold their value because they're limited. Why does value drop? Well, value drops because there's too much. You produce too much. So value in silver drops because there's 76 million tons of it in the paper world, not in the physical world. So therefore, that's how the price goes down. You flooded it with fake gold and silver, and they don't tell you this, and only we realize it. So you need somebody like me to explain what's going on. I'm telling you what's happening because they've got 76 million tons of fake silver. It's not limited, so the price goes down. And they're playing games with it. They're shorting it. And the price goes, and they make money on the options, but that's not real. That's fantasy, and they should all be in jail right now. What they're doing is illegal. You cannot sell 76 million of anything if there's only 1 million of it to have. Okay, I want the gold. I want the silver. Well, I don't have it. There's only 1 million, and I'm selling 76 million. So it's all fake. How is that not a Ponzi scheme like Madoff? What is the difference? None. All right, so that's what we got. Why the gold standard? Because the gold standard prevents exactly this. On the gold standard, it's physical gold backs the dollar. Now, what these people, the guy, Mark McGuire, is an idiot. There's not enough gold to go around. Not at this price, moron. But if you make the gold price, say $40,000 for the ounce of gold, which is probably conservatively where it should be, then you can print more money because you have the value of gold's higher, and then there's enough gold-backed currency around. So at this price, no, there's not enough. But I mean, you got 1 billion people in China. Well, I think you got about 800,000 people, 800,000 people in China, or 800 million. It's not 1 billion. That's a lie. They have less than that. So anyway, the point of the gold standard is to keep the supply of the dollar down, which keeps the value up. Just like we're looking at physical gold in COMEX right now, where the physical numbers are very low, so the price should be very high, but they're coming in with fake gold and silver. So the dollar is in the same situation. The dollar is printed, and there's 150, 200 trillion dollars out there. Well, you've killed the value of it. The idea initially of Adam Smith in 1776, the Constitution, was to have gold back, to have gold as the only money because it is limited. That's what you're supposed to do. And then in 1913, J.P. Morgan comes in with the Federal Reserve, which is the central bank, which is illegal. In the Constitution, no central banks and no money, only gold for money, no money, no paper fiat. Because they knew what happens, it goes to zero. They watched the Romans, they watched the French, they knew what was happening. The Spanish, the guys in Amsterdam, they all looked at it. So basically, that was why the Constitution was what the Constitution was. And then JP Morgan puts in the Federal Reserve and starts income tax. We never had income tax before 1913. The country worked fine. In the whole 1800s, no income tax. How about that? And we grew and grew and grew, and we had limited government because you can't afford them. So what the gold standard does is says your dollar's worth a dollar. And I showed you that picture yesterday, and I'll show it to you again. If I can find it. So this is the 1970s. What a $20. You go to the grocery store with $20, you filled your fucking cart. This is like the 90s and $20, and you pretty much were able to fill your cart. This is today, $20, and you got 4 items in there. This is what inflation is, because the value that this is the whole point of the value of the devaluing the currency. This is what $20 could buy you. And then this is what 20 could buy you as you're losing value. And now there is no value. The 20 can't buy you anything. I think there's 4 or 5 items in the grocery cart for $20 versus look, you filled the cart up for $20. That's the whole point. That's why you have the gold standard. The gold standard is the first one. This is the gold standard, right? You take your 20, you fill your cart. And then this is JP Morgan and happy printing. And then, oh, look, it doesn't buy anything. And that is the point of the gold standard. It keeps the money valuable and we get paid. The biggest Ponzi scheme we're getting is when you go to work, right? The $20 buys you 4 things. So you make $75,000 at your job, let's say. It's not worth anything. The dollar's worth about 1 cent, if that, right? My handy dandy dollar. Where are you? Is this my dollar? Yeah. So my handy dandy dollar, it's now worth this. It doesn't buy you anything. The value of it is destroyed because the Keynesians came in and said, no, we can just print as much money as we want, right, Jim Rickards? And it'll have no effect on the dollar, right, Jim Rickards? Oh, wait, yeah, it does. It makes it worthless. I can only buy 4 things at the grocery store instead of filling my cart. And the gold standard, you'd be able to fill your cart today, yesterday, every day, you'd be able to fill your cart. That's what the gold standard does. It keeps the value of the money. The money cannot go down. The money stays. It'll fill the cart with a 20, and that'll never change. Now, I don't know, a couple $100 to fill your cart. When I'm at the grocery store and I see somebody shopping with a full cart, I kind of just go up to them and laugh and going, well, it's going to cost you about 500. And they just roll their eyes like, yeah, you're right. So the gold standard's purpose is to keep the value of the money from being printed to death, keep it from doing 76 million tons of silver when there's only a 1.2 million tons of silver. Of that, there's probably, 10 tons available. And that's the problem with it. So the value of the money goes down as they print it. That's why we want limited edition cards. We want Mickey Mantle cards, PSA 9 in the 1950s. There can't be 20 of them, and therefore the values are in the millions. The Montana rookie card, PSA 10. There's very little PSA 10s. That's why it's worth 120 grand. It's the limited amount that gives you the value. Now, when a gold standard, you make gold $50,000 an ounce, and you can print more money, but it's backed by the gold and it'll hold its value. And that's it. And you can certainly, what they should have done when it was $35 an ounce is make it go to 100. I don't know why they never increased the value of the gold. You want a war with Vietnam, you want to give welfare to everybody and help the poor. Okay, stupid, but okay. But if you're going to do that, Why didn't you raise the value of the gold to 500, 600 instead of putting in this Ponzi scheme of COMEX? Let's keep the price down by printing, which is incredibly illegal and immoral, and it's just bullshit. And only JP Morgan does it, and it's just makes you sick. Who do we have here? Oh my God. A big name. I'll call you all that, or I can call you 23. I was at the bank last week, and my banker wanted to put me in a few different accounts to make 3, 5, 8%. I said, no, I'm not going to make any money on that. I also told him, if you believe that, I have a lot of stuff in the attic I could sell you. You should have said, well, what about gold? Why don't you put me in gold? That's what I told him. The guy came to me and he said, I have an annuity for 9% for you. And I just laughed at him. I says, I don't want to be in paper. I'm going to buy gold. And it blew him away. He couldn't understand that. And it's like, as I just explained, as you keep printing the money, it loses value. So what are you going to get on 8%? 8% of what? And the money's going to zero. So you have 8% of nothing. In gold, you just watch the gold and silver go up. So these bankers are trying to make commission. They don't give a fuck about you. Remember that. That's the most important thing. That's why I show you Attack on Wall Street. I always watch it to cheer me up once in a while. And that's the point of it. They don't give a fuck about you. You're commissioned to them. So he looks at you as a target. Hey, I can get you 8%. Yeah, but I'm still in dollars. It's not worth anything. They're going to zero if they're not already. I just showed you what $20 will buy you in the grocery store. Is that what you want to be in? Or do you want to be in gold and silver? Now, even though it's kind of price fixed, that's ending because there just isn't enough left, and they're going to have to. I don't know what these banks are going to do. There's 76 million tons of silver, and there's only 1.2 million tons available. How the fuck are you going to come up with the other 75 million tons, 32,000 ounces a ton? Where are you going to get that from to pay off these guys? Oh, you're not. You're going to try to give them fake money that's worthless. Yeah, here's $100. You can put 4 items in you can put 10 items in your grocery cart. And that's what I mean by purchasing power. It's what it will buy you. And if a 20 will buy you 4 items that used to fill the cart, that shows you that there is no value in money. And that's why you got to get the fuck out. And that's why you Rumpelstiltskin. You trade it for gold. You turn your paper crap into gold. That's the point of it. Because guess what? They can't print that. Forget it's been around 5,000 years and nobody seems to understand it. When Egon or Mark McGuire try to explain it, they really don't understand it. They go, well, it can still buy a suit. Oh, bullshit. Those prices are fixed and cheap. The real value of gold is much, much higher. And that's the thing. And we're not forecasting the price of gold. We're trying to get to the real price. If there's 222,000 tons of it available, 222,000, and there's 4.4 million tons of paper gold, how the fuck do you possibly get, how can the real value be 4,800? The real value is 48,000. I mean, that's the value that I keep ascertaining is the 222. What's the value of the 222? I see what the value of this 4.3 million is, but I don't have 4.3. I only got 222,000, of which China owns 80,000 of it, and Russia with 20, and India and Saudi Arabia and Dubai, and there goes the rest of BRICS and Poland and Hungary and those guys. Geez, there's maybe maybe 1,000 tons left, and we've got hidden gold, right? Because our gold doesn't count, right? We're not central banks, we're not shadow banks, so our gold that we have could be a ton or two. I don't know how many people in our class have more than, 50, 100 ounces, maybe a little bit more. We have more silver. It's easier to get silver, it's cheaper, but that's the point. So you really don't know what the price is, but the bullshit if it's 4,800. I mean, that's why I times it by 10, but I'm almost tempted to times it by 20 to get to the real value, because this COMEX value is bullshit. So when Egon talks about you could buy a suit in Rome and the value of the gold hasn't shifted, that's bullshit. The value of the gold has gone up, because you can see it was 2,000 and now it's, let's say, 5,000. Well, what do you think that is? That gives it more value. It's an ounce of gold is still an ounce of gold. That's where they're getting confused. But the value of the gold is determined by the market. And right now the market is COMEX, not us. And when we blow up COMEX and we become the market, it'll be 50,000 easily, because people realize they have to have it, because as all that's just pointing out, I don't want to be in the bank. I don't want to be in dollars. It's worthless. So you're going to run into gold. Well, times that by what, 2-3 billion people who are going to run into gold. Now we got, we got China has already run into gold. Russia probably, and then you've got Africa. They're all running into gold. The whole the whole continent of Africa is going gold standard. And then you have the Germans obviously know a lot about gold because they were the ones fucked the most. It's when the U.S. opens their eyes and says, shit, the dollar's worthless, and they start running into gold, because here's where a lot of the money is in a lot of the people. And once the people open their eyes, then that gold price goes to 100,000 a ton. And then the dollar basically goes out because nobody wants it. And when nobody wants an item, it has no value. Now, my Canadian club's packed up, but what I would show you, it's only worth something if somebody will buy it. That's what a market is. That's how the value is determined. But in a gold standard, the money keeps its value. So $100 bill under the gold standard is worth $100. And it, a $20 will buy, will fill your cart at the grocery store. And that'll always fill you. And if we went on the gold standard today, 2026, in 2036, you'd still go to the grocery store and still fill it up with the 20. Nothing would change, because the value of the dollar wouldn't change, because you didn't print it. You didn't increase the quantity. And that's what kills everything. And then what happens is, as you increase the quantity and you notice you're losing value, as you just did, you said, fuck, I don't want 5%, 8% of paper. It's worthless. That was very good. I'm very proud of you. That's worthless. So therefore, if it's worthless, why do I want to be in it? I don't want it. You just said, I don't want it, which means the demand is down, which means it's not worth anything. And you hopefully ran into gold and silver with it. And then you can sit back and watch it go to the moon. And not only are you not losing money in the dollar, you're gaining a ton in gold and silver. So it is a protection from the dollar going to zero. But on the converse, it's also keeping its value. So as prices go up and the dollar goes to zero, gold goes up with it. So gold equals the price, right? So let's say an ounce of silver bought you a cart full of groceries. As the prices of groceries go up and the value of the silver goes up, this will still buy you a full cart of groceries. That's kind of what Egon's trying to say, is this value will remain. It'll always, the 1 ounce will always buy you X and Y. But my argument always with that is, we're the market, we control the prices. So they can put Oreo cookies at $20 a box. We're not going to buy them. And eventually they can't sell them, so they're going to lower their price. So we control the price. All that, in my younger days, I might have fell for it, but listening to you, and now I know better. Thank you. Yeah, well, in the younger days, we did it, but the dollar wasn't as exposed as it is now. But now we can see them printing money. The Economy's getting older. We're getting older. So I get Social Security, which obviously when I was younger, I wouldn't. I'd be working. The military, you have 39 trillion in debt. Where are you going to get the, oh, we'll print money. Well, how about all the government employees? We have way too many. As I say, in our ice cream store, we can afford 5 employees if we sell 100 ice creams, a month, let's say. And but then it goes down to 50 because the price had to go up because ice cream went up. I can only afford 2 employees. Well, that's what happens in business, but in the government, they have 1 million employees and everything is more expensive and they still have 1 million employees. I've never seen anything so stupid in my life. You need less government. That's why you cannot have big government. Government's not a business. Government does not create anything, does not have revenue. For them to tax us and call that revenue is a fucking joke. How is my taxes that I work hard to earn that you have no business taking? How is that? How is that revenue? And why am I paying for some government employee? That's bullshit. They need to pay for themselves. You go to work at GM, it's based on how many cars they can sell, determines if they can pay you or not. That's why you see these mass layoffs, because they can't afford to pay the people. That's why they do a lot of contract, because it's interest rate sensitive. The higher the interest rate, less people are going to buy cars because it's too expensive. And so that's why it's contract. And then if your contract, I'm a PO, they can say, okay, we're letting you go because I can't afford to pay you because sales on the cars are gone. I have a lot of fixed expense, which means I have the plant, the machinery, the tooling. I have to have that, and the plant and the heat's expensive and the rent's expensive. And so I can only have 100 employees instead of 200. So I'm laying off 100 contractors. And that's kind of how that works. And so I did my case on that. My thesis was, as you raise interest rates, what happens? And it's basically don't buy car stocks when their interest rates are higher because it's more expensive and people aren't going to buy cars. And that's the way it's always been. That's why I laugh at Tesla. And they're like, oh, let's sell an electric car for $90,000. Who the fuck has $90,000 to waste on an electric car? Who wants an electric car? I'm going to have to, if it's anything like our cell phone and our laptops, we'll have to charge it every day. Yeah, I drove to the grocery store. I need to charge my car now. I mean, that's where we're ending up. If it doesn't catch on fire and I can get out, if it even starts when it's really hot or really cold out, which we get here in Michigan. So it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? So that's really the point of it. As things become more expensive, you buy less of them. So therefore, the government employees you have to lay them off. You cannot have salaried employees. You got to have contract employees working for the government, and you got to have far less. And it's so diluted that nobody knows what the fuck's going on, and that's why we're going bankrupt. So we print more money. So it comes back to that. We print more money. We're printing trillions of dollars every month, and then the value of the dollar goes down. Now $20 will buy one item pretty soon, right? And therefore, your money in the bank, I get 5%. Oh, big deal. The money, the base money. So you give them 10 grand to get 5%. The 10 grand goes down to 2 grand. So not only you don't give a shit about the interest, it's the base. The 10 grand doesn't have a value. So you got to run with the 10 grand and go buy gold and silver with it and watch that go up. And now for some reason they keep this bullshit option where they keep the price down. Like, dudes, the genie's out of the bottle. We know it's worth a lot more. We know they do a treasury option. Nobody wants dollars. Well, there's no demand. Therefore, the value of the dollar is worthless. Let's have a war. How expensive is the war? Right? Another thing you don't see. So they're burying the dollar. The dollar's dead. All these wars, Ukraine, Iran, what the fuck are you doing? Why are we at war with Iran? Oh, because we're broke. The real reason is we're broke and we're trying to steal their oil and gold. That's why we're at war. Also because they're at BRICS and we don't want BRICS. BRICS has all this gold and we don't want BRICS to succeed because everybody will join BRICS and the gold-backed currency will kill the US dollar if it already hasn't. That's the real reason of Iran and Ukraine against Russia and going to Venezuela was to steal their gold and oil because we're broke. Bottom line, Hitler was broke in 1939. In 1932, he was broke and he did these bonds so he could build his army up, right? The tanks, the missiles, the equipment, all that, jeeps, because there was a lot of horses in World War II, but you don't see it. You always see the Nazis in jeeps and tanks and everything, but you don't see is a lot of horses because they still had horse and buggy at that time. And the bonds were coming due in 1939, which is what started World War II. And Hitler Blitzkrieg was just simply going to the central banks and stealing their gold and silver. Hitler got it, or his advisors, which were Henry Ford and Bosch and BMW and Mercedes. These were the guys that backed Hitler, and they did it for the money. And of course, J.P. Morgan was selling them weapons. And it's just how the banks will make money. They're so like, they don't give a, as long as they make money, they don't care if they're helping Hitler, if they're helping Stalin. We sent all these tanks to Russia so they could defeat that. What the fuck is going on? What kind of war are you having when you're helping the enemy? I'm very leery to buy a Ford, and I'm very leery to buy, like, to work for a German company. I was once at Bosch, and my boss was British, and it was a terrible job, so I left. And when I left, my boss was British. I said to him, "How can you work for a German company? They bombed you in the war, and you're fucking working for them. You're a fucking loser." And I walked out, and he just kind of looked at me, and I'm like, "How do you forget the war? How do you forget they bombed you, and now you're buddies with them?" I just sat there. I couldn't believe what I was saying. I'm like, "You're a fucking idiot." If somebody, like my neighbor is really rude to me, he just moved out. I'm moving out. If I see him again, I wouldn't say hi to him. I wouldn't know what he looked like, but I wouldn't say hi to him. All right, all that. I remember when Ross Perot was talking in 1992 that we need to get our national debt paid off, and it was at $4 trillion at then. Him and Ron Paul were the only ones talking about it back then. Why can't America go back on gold standard and admit we messed and really try to rebuild our country the right way? Because the problem with government, like Trump, he can't admit he's wrong. Some of them don't see the problem. You listen to who's that idiot? What's his name? I can see his face. Anyway, they think you can just keep printing money. So part of it is they're Keynesians and they don't get it. They don't see there's a problem with the debt. They think, well, we'll just inflate the money to zero and we won't pay off the debt. But mostly they don't want to admit they're wrong. They're not running the country like a business. They're not even using the Constitution. Luke used to quote the Constitution here, but they don't even use it. And now they're corrupt, and all they want is the payoffs. So when they get the defense contractors the lobbyists giving them $1 million, they take it, even though they don't realize it's not worth anything. We need two governments. My thinking is you can't have a monopoly running anything. So you need two governments. And then one government's gold back, the other government's not. Everybody goes to the gold back, and that ends that. But they don't want to admit they're wrong. They're trying to get elected to get the payoffs. When the defense contractors pay him $1 million, like Donna Pelosi, she retires like with $100 million, and Biden has 4 houses. dude, you're only making like 100 grand. Where are you getting these mansions? Because all these payoffs and all that, and the insider trading, they all know, hey, we're going to buy Nvidia. So buy a million shares of it now, and then we're going to buy it, and it's going to go up. It's all very much price fixed. It's the same thing with Bitcoin. Trump just did a speech, and his son bought oil futures ahead of it, and then the oil price went up, and then he did another speech saying, well, it's okay, we won the war, and then everything dropped, and he sold before. So now it's not even government, it's just bullshit. Trump's in it for the money. I mean, this guy's out of his fucking mind. You're running a country. You're not supposed to be in it to make money by selling things, to make options on Bitcoin or on other or on or oil futures or anything like that. That's what they're doing. So I think it's to properly answer the question is they don't want the gold standard because they want to print and get all this money. They don't understand. It's Jim Rickards is the guy. He thinks that you just can keep printing. We're the reserve currency. We can print and print and print, and nothing's going to happen. And it's guys like that they don't understand. No, you can't keep printing and printing. It has no value. And that's why I show you Egon and Mark McGuire. They get it. But this Jim Rickards doesn't get it. And Mike Maloney doesn't get it. And Andrew Schechtman doesn't get it. I mean, none of these guys get if you print it so much, it has no value. This whole 76 million fucking tons of paper silver does destroy the value of the physical silver of the 1,200,000 tons. You've got 76 million tons of paper. It's not even real. And yet they're letting them do this. Why are they letting them do it? It's the same thing. So yeah, we should be on the gold standard. I'm ready to move to BRICS countries who will have a gold standard. They've got all the gold, and they've come out with gold-backed currency. China and India needs it. They all need it because all their dollars are worthless. You don't want to buy a regular yuan or for sure India or rubles. They have no value. Nobody who has this, okay, this has no value. Oh, it says 5 on it. But what will the $5 buy you? Go to the grocery store at €5. You put one thing in your cart if you're lucky. So all these currencies are done, and everybody will run into gold and silver. Now, it might not be gold standard, but it basically will be gold standard because that will be the only thing people trust. As everything goes out, you're not going to trust it. Now, you've already seen Sri Lanka go out, Pakistan go out, Venezuela go out, China's done, Japan's done, India's done, Russia's done, Turkey's heavy inflation, and Zimbabwe, our buddies, came out with the ZIG. They were toast. So you've already seen 10, 15 countries go broke, but yet everybody ignores it. So, I mean, the answer is the gold standard keeps the government controlled where they can't do all this bullshit, and they don't want that. The defense contractors want to print all this money. There's too many Madoffs out there. There's too many Jamie Dimons who are these crooks, these mafia guys who want to print the money. And they're the ones in control, George Soros, who want to print a lot of money and don't want the gold standard because the gold standard limits it. Now, they're all wrong. They're all assholes, but they're the ones in charge because whoever's in government takes the bribes from the defense contractors and does what they tell them. Why do you think we're at war with Iran? Because Trump is being blackmailed by Netanyahu about Jeffrey Epstein and sleeping with these young girls. And Trump has to do what he says. I mean, why is Trump in bed with the Israelis? I mean, this is where the country's at. It's gone. We're done. We are toast. But we have our own gold standard. Me and you and everybody in our class, we are protected. We have this. This is your out. This is your protection. This is your lifeboat. Now, if nobody else can recognize it but us, so fuck them then. I go at the pool all the time and say, buy gold, buy silver. And they look at me and I go, then fuck off. I'm trying to help you because you're going to get fucked, but you don't know. These are the idiots that would take the 5%, 8% in the bank. I was telling you about the one guy, and he's like, he's a millionaire because of his stocks. And I said, where's your money in? Is it in dollars? He says, what are you, in Bitcoin? I says, no. And then I walked away like, well, you don't have any, you have no money. It's not worth anything, but you don't know it yet. And I'm not going to tell you because you have an attitude towards me for trying to help you. So go fuck off. I will help you if you want the help, but if you start fucking with me, I'm not going to help you. But I know the answer is to get into the lifeboat. But you're smarter than me, so you stay on the Titanic. I'm going in the lifeboat. We'll see who wins. So America can go back, but they won't go back. They don't want to have the money controlled. They want to print it. They're all a bunch of criminals. This is a very corrupt government. And right now they're not using the Constitution, which says only gold can be money. And if they're not going to follow it, you got a bunch of idiots in charge. All we can do is do what we're doing, buy our gold and silver. And if we have to move to the Caribbean or some country in Spain, in Europe, or hey, we move to Singapore, then that's what we have to do. All these politicians and their families know what's coming, so they jump in and out these different things to make money. They know when to jump in and out. Yeah, because they're controlling it. I agree with that, but they're still in money. How many are in gold? Take an idiot like Warren Buffett. He's doing what you're saying, but he doesn't buy gold because he doesn't understand it. Well, gold just sits there. It doesn't collect interest. Yeah, but the price goes up. So you have guys that don't understand it. And this is the problem. They're not educated in it. They think they have money, like a Bill Gates. Well, I got $1 billion, so I'm not going to worry. But it's not worth anything. But that's the part he doesn't understand. But I got $1 billion. I really hate these IT guys because they create things that nobody wants. AI, the most useless thing I ever saw. Analytics. How many times do I rip baseball and football for analytics that don't work? Oh, go for it on 4th and 2, and they don't make it, and they lose, and the coach gets fired because he listened to analytics. It doesn't work. AI will never work. AI is just data collection. It's meaningless. It doesn't work. But, they think when you Google AI, we had a guy in class Google a game. He said, oh, New England's going to win 24-20. I think it was the Denver game or it was the Super Bowl. And and when I finished laughing at him going, well, AI doesn't predict games. It's just a summary. It's not looking at New England's weak schedule. It's not looking at how good Denver is and Denver's coach. It's missing all the variables. And that's the problem with AI. You're not going to get rich listening to AI, betting baseball or football or poker or anything like that. That's another thing at the poker tables. Apparently, people are using like computers. They show a tournament. The guy's friend in the crowd has the tournament, has the computer. This is what you should do when this happens. And it's all such bullshit because it's not understanding all the variables. When I talk to Nick or I talk to some of these guys who bet and they want to do the formula and they want to do an AI or an analytic or an algorithm, you can't, because how do you put variables in? Right? How do you do Bo Nix being injured? How does that calculate in? It doesn't. You can't. Oh, they need the game to clinch the playoffs. Oh, they lost last week, so they're going to be up for this game. or the matchups. They're a high scoring team, a low scoring. There's too many variables. AI cannot predict. I can predict because I can look at all the variables. It can't. But people are, I don't know, all on this AI kick, but it's not good. It doesn't work. It's a Ponzi scheme. It's a scam. It's not what you, I don't know, companies, well, Howard, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to have AI take over. Oh, I'm sure it'll be as accurate as me. Okay, good luck. Oh, is it going to spot things that I spotted? No. AI is not an answer. Again, IT doesn't explain it. It's just a Ponzi scheme. It'll never work. Just like Bitcoin and OneCoin and all these things, they don't work. They're not real. I'm going to take air and I'll call it. So apparently the CIA created Bitcoin. Maybe, maybe not. I think it's probably the Russian mafia, but whatever. And they created it, but what is it? It's nothing. It's not real. So if you understand it, you go, it's not real. There's no value in it. It's air. Here's a Bitcoin. See it? Yeah. Oh, you can't see it? Well, ask somebody what it looks like. Try to get an answer that you can't. How do you value that? Well, there's only 21 million. Bullshit, there's 21 million. 21 million of what? Of air. So again, you have all this problems. It's ridiculous. So what IT does is they don't explain crap. They design it based on no demand. You're supposed to be Say's Law. You're supposed to, I want a green shirt and I'll make green shirts. That's the way the market works. Not, well, I'm going to make a blue shirt. Well, nobody wants blue shirts. I don't care. You're supposed to listen to the market. Nobody in the market saying I want AI. Nobody in the market saying I want analytics. Nobody in the market saying I want an electric car. They make it and then they try to push it. And then you get all this bullshit push on the internet. Oh, they got AI. They got this. They got that. Nobody wants it. And then they're trying to, you'll never get me to buy an electric car. Never, ever, ever. Even if it was free, I wouldn't want it. Because I don't want to have the hassle of it catching on fire, and I don't want to have the hassle of charging it every 5 minutes. Just like I do with my phone and my computer every day, I'm charging it. I mean, so what am I going to do with well, the battery power will hold. Yeah, sure it will. Batteries do not hold energy very well. And in the beginning, it'll hold. And after 4 or 5 months, you'll be there every day because batteries do not hold the charge. It's just the way they're made. Anyway. So, yeah, I mean, we should be on the gold standard. We're supposed to be on the gold standard. It keeps the value of your dollar. It'll keep the grocery cart full for $20 forever. And to me, if you need to raise the value of the gold because you need to make more dollars, then that's what you do. So it certainly works. You can easily raise the value of gold from, like, the U.S. should have made it go from 35. Notice how FDR made it go from 20 to 35. Now, me, if this is 1930, no way am I handing my gold in because that's my freedom. I know that, and therefore I'm never handing that in. Now, keep in mind, $20 was a lot of money back then, not like now, right? So if you had 10 ounces, $200 was good, but yeah, there's no way I'm handing it in. And they weren't knocking door to door. You kept your money in the bank, they'd go to the bank. Oh, okay, professor, he's got 10 ounces. We'll give him now he's got $200. But they didn't come knocking at your house and saying, where is it? How would they know you even have gold? But they were more than happy when the stock market crashed in 1929 on purpose. And by the way, it was $279 and it crashed. And then it was back to $250 a few months later. So the whole big depression the stock market went right back up. It was FDR's policies of higher taxes and inflation and government spending that really killed everything because he hired Keynes. He hires Keynes to be his finance guy. And it only took roughly 15 years to get out of the depression because we happened to make weapons for both sides in the war, and we made money on that. So maybe that's why these idiots think a war can make money. We'll sell missiles instead of tanks and planes, and we'll get out of the depression. No, it ain't. We are in a depression. We Our $39 trillion debt is not going anywhere. It's just going up and up and up. We can't afford it. We got to pay a lot, probably $1.5 trillion in interest every year, which is going to go higher. Interest rates will go up because nobody wants our money. Nobody will buy our treasuries. We're basically fucked. So instead of waiting until the boat hits the Atlantic and we all drown, we are in the lifeboats. And that's the point of what I am trying to tell everybody is get into the lifeboat now. Do not wait for us to be, in the movie The Titanic, you can see 90% in the water. You can see it's sinking. They can't stop the water from flooding in. So get into the lifeboat. And here you just can't see it. You think it's business as usual, even though nobody will buy our treasuries. We go to the grocery store, it doesn't buy anything, it doesn't register. That's the boat 90% down, but it doesn't register. And that's the point. So you buy your gold and silver cheap, as I've been talking about since 2021. Buy. And then we're fine. And again, it's not even really to make money. We're not buying it at 4,800 because it's going to 30,000. But that's the kicker. We're doing it to get out of the dollar, but that's the kicker. It will go way up, but it'll equal what the prices go up on houses and well, actually, those prices will be dropping. It's just the dollar will go to zero. So will your house. So will your car. And then we'll get priced in gold, no matter what. If we want it or not, the Chinese and the Russians will be knocking at your door with gold, going, I'll give you 2 ounces of gold for your house. If you like it or not, there's a lot of Chinese that own property here. The Japanese owned a lot of property in the 80s until they went broke, but they didn't have gold. Now the Chinese with the gold will come, they will be the ones buying your property with 2 or 3 ounces of gold, and you'll take it because you have no alternative. So keep that in mind. But yeah, the government's extremely corrupt. So understand that. We know it is. You guys tell me how the sports are fixed. We know that. But that's why I do teasers, and I made that. So I made the updated video of me, and I say that we know it's fixed, but teasers are the key to breaking the fix because if the spread's 7, they win by 6. But in a teaser, we're only laying 1, and that's how we win. We beat because they're not fixing the teaser line; they're fixing the regular line. And I'm good enough to pick the games very well since 19. I think the first bet I made was like 1968. It might have been the Ice Bowl, but it was definitely. I think I remember betting on the Super Bowl III, KC. I know I bet on the Dallas Miami Super Bowl. I know I bet that. And then I know I bet the USC Notre Dame game, 1973, the Anthony Davis game. I know I bet that one. So I was betting pretty young and winning. And my specialty is understanding trends and spotting trends. It's a very high level thing that I can do. All right. So any questions or comments, please feel free. And let's go into baseball. And let's look at what the hell happened yesterday. And basketball. So, baseball. I love how these sites have to wait for the commercials to load. So you can't actually get the data, you get the commercials. All right, fuck it. We'll go to another site. All right, April 17th. We have the Cubbies minus 150 for 2 units. They win 12-4. We're betting against the Mets, who now have a 9-game losing streak. So we will be betting against, take the Cubs today, no matter what. Baltimore over 8 for 2 units. They win 6-4. That's a 10. That's a W. Atlanta over 9. Let's see. And Atlanta wins 9-0. So that's a push. Philadelphia, what happened to where's Bryce Harper? He's not hitting. So we get a tie on it. We got Tampa loses the Pitt 5-1. They were on a 5-game winning streak, so we bet the streak there, and they lost. Pitt beat them 5-1. The 49ers over 8. They win 10-5. That's a winner. KC under, and they lose to the Yankees 4-2. That's a winner because it stayed under 8. Boston under 7.5, and they win 1-0. The Tigers can't score. They got lucky in the game against Kansas City, but most of the games against Kansas City were like 2-1 games, and they lose 1-0 in 10 innings. They can't score. They're pathetic. Bunch of minor leaguers on the Tigers. We've got Minnesota over 8, and they don't get there. It's a loser. Cincinnati wins 2-1. We have Colorado. We actually bet I don't know why I bet Colorado. Anyway, they lose 7-1 to the Dodgers. We won't be betting against the Dodgers for a while. San Diego, we took. They lost 8-0 to California. Arizona over 8, and that wins. They win 6-3. Texas 116. They win 5-0 with DeGrom. And Oakland under 9, and that loses 9-2 the White Sox. And that was bet on the White Sox. I looked in their box score. They have no hitters. They have nobody hitting 250. Explain it to me. So we go 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, 3-1, 4-1, 5-1, 5-2, 5-3, 5-4. 6-4. We go 6-5. So we went a little bit. A lot of games picked. And again, early in the season, I'm just kind of fucking around. Anyway, so let's look at today's games. Yeah, don't take these bets seriously now. I mean, you can bet small amounts on them, $20. I mean, they're not bet $1,000 on them. These aren't, we're not there yet. Now, baseball, why is it so hard to pick? Way too many variables. A, you're playing every day, basically. B, you have different pitchers every day. So every day, the dynamic of the variables are different. Right? I get Scanes one day, and then I get Jones the next day. Well, we're going to bet Scanes, but we're not going to bet Jones or Smith or whoever. But when you get your Scanes, you bet it. We bet Max Fried the other day, and he got killed. I don't know if he got killed. They pull him, and then the guy comes in, gives up 6 or 7 runs. There goes your under. There goes your Yankee bet. So again, you're trying to bet the pitcher, but since it changes every day, the variables change every day. So we try to zero in on the pitcher. Ranger Torres, or Ranger, whatchamacallit, Ranger Suarez used to be on the Phillies, and we bet him all the time, and he won all the time. Now he's on Boston, and he just shut out Detroit. So glad to see that. So we can put Ranger Suarez back on our things. All right, 418, which is today. We got KC at the Yankees. We got the Yankees 156 and 8. We got Cameron with a 394 for KC. Will Warren with a 250. Um, KC under 8 won yesterday, 4-2. The Yankees did win. I like the Yankees here. I'm not going to bet it, but I do like the Yankees minus 156. I don't know, Warren, Cameron, the Yankees aren't hitting. I look at their lineup. They got Aaron Judge. They got Garcia or Stanton and one other guy, and that's it. And then they got 4 or 5 guys hitting under 200. Now, the reason we're not really betting much now is because we don't really know what these hitters are. It's still they've only been up maybe 100 times. And if they get 2 hits, their batting average goes up 25 points. And if they go 0 for 4, it goes down 25 points. So there's not enough data really in it to really let them go through April. So like May 1st, we'll get more serious. But right now it's only been, 3 weeks. And, it's it. My pet peeve is the manager that pulls the cleanup hitter, who's a 300 hitter and a lefty, and then a lefty comes on the mound and he pinch hits him with a righty who can't hit. And you're just sitting there going, these managers are the dumbest guys I've ever seen in my life. What the fuck are they doing? I mean, you don't take your cleanup hitter's your best hitter. Yeah, but he can't hit lefties. Oh, so then he's not a 300 hitter, because if he's only facing righties, it's totally skewed. What are you talking about? If he only hits righties and he's a 300 hitter, he's not a 300 hitter. That's against righties and lefties. I'm pretty sure Willie Mays hit righties, right? All right. So let's go. Cincinnati, Minnesota. Minnesota 127.8. It's in Minnesota. Abbott 585 against Bradley. Let's go with Minnesota here. Minus 127. The Mets against the Cubs. Now, this game we are betting Cubs minus 114, and this will be 4 units. The Mets are on a 9 or 10 game losing streak, and I like betting the streaks. We got Peralta 386 for the Mets and Talon a 506. It doesn't matter. As long as the Mets are losing, we keep betting the Cubs. And we've won 4 or 5 in a row with them, and we will keep betting the Cubbies. Well, we're basically betting whoever the Mets play. They have absolutely no hitting, even though they got Bo Bichette and there's another guy, Lindor, but that doesn't mean much. We got Tampa Bay at Pitt. We got Pitt minus 150. Tampa Bay is on a losing streak. I wouldn't have bet that. At least I believe they are. We'll check it out. Pitt minus 150 and Drew Rasmussen for Tampa with a 112 ERA against our buddy Paul Skeens. All right, I got to check. Is Tampa Bay still on this losing streak? I think I read it wrong yesterday. Tampa Bay. No, they're on a 1 game. So they were on a winning streak. Why did I have it up there? Oh, they must have won. Okay. So let's look at streaks as long as I'm in here. 5 game losing streak is Kansas City. So we got to bet the Yankees. So that'll be 2 units. And a 4 game losing streak, Seattle. One thing I'm noticing, Detroit, they're 8-1 at home and 2-9 on the road. They're at Boston, so we got to go with Boston today. Now, does this always work? No, but we got to look at some way to get to the prediction, and these things do help. 9 game losing streak would be the METS, Mets. Or the JET. So the Jets won 2 games. The Mets are 7-13 on a 9 game losing streak. Nothing there. And then The Dodgers are on a 4-game winning streak. The Dodgers are actually 6-1 on the road, but they're at home. Let's see if there's any other blatant at home. Washington's 1-6 at home. So these are important too. Let's see. 1-6. Toronto's 1-6 on the road, but a lot of that is who did they play? Detroit, I told you, and Houston 1-9 on the road, and Seattle 1-8 on the road. All right. So we're looking for anything that'll give us an advantage, trying to figure out pick the winner, basically. So we look at streaks. We look at they're not good at home or they're not good on the road. So here we're gonna bet Skeins. So Pitt minus 150. That'll be 2 units. That's what we like to bet. See, those are the variables that come into play. We don't have Skeins every day. Unlike Mahomes, we have every day. Joe Burrow, we have every day. So we know what to bet on them. Football is very consistent. Basketball should be very consistent, especially in the playoffs. Here, I got Skeins, but I don't have them tomorrow, and I don't have them the next 4 days. So that variable is now Skeins. Now, he started off with a really high ERA, but it's come down a lot. So we'll go with Skeins. The 49ers and the Redskins, 49ers minus 106 at Washington. Hauser 506 against Chevalier 480. Should be an over, but I'm not going to bet it. It is a 9.5. The White Sox at Oakland. I bet it under because the White Sox can't hit, and they scored 9 runs. Probably on weak Oakland pitching. Let's see what we got. We got Fetty for the White Sox, 360 against Cervino. For Oakland, 568, over of 9. Oakland minus 158. So I would play this game over because they're playing on a softball field in Oakland at their minor league thing. Over 9, but I'm not going to bet it. Here we go. Oh, wait. Okay, so Detroit on a Detroit's terrible on the road, but they got Scooble going today, so it washes it. I'm going to say go under 7. No, I don't want to go under 7. Detroit can't hit. I'm just going to stick with Boston, plus 132 against Scooble. He'll only pitch 5 innings, so then it goes to the relievers. So that's the thing with Scooble. He's unlike any other player in sports. He doesn't care about winning. He just cares. He's just clearly in it for the money, I guess. I hate people like that. If you don't have passion for what you're doing, what the fuck, you go work at the grocery store. So a 2.25 ERA in Fenway. Should be a low scoring game, but Scooble seems to play high scoring games. He'll play 5 innings, and Boston doesn't hit. It's probably an under 7, but Scooble plays high scoring games, which you don't think. But Detroit scores 5 runs, and the bullpen lets up 5 runs, and it ends up being 5-5 because the bullpen can't handle it. So it's a game. I'm gonna. What did I saw Detroit on the road. Okay, and they're very bad on the road. All right, so that's just a 2-unit game. We'll see. Milwaukee at Miami. Miami 108, 7.5. Alcantara 270 for Miami. Woodruff 450 for Milwaukee. The game's in Miami. Alcantara pitched like shit last game. I see again. My thought is to go over or to take Miami, but I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to bet it. You can't make me. Baltimore and Cleveland. Baltimore is really inconsistent, as in Cleveland. Cleveland minus 134, 7.5. Kramer for Baltimore, 3.60 ERA against Gus Williams of the Sonics, 2.45 ERA. I don't know. I mean, Cleveland, well, it's, superficially, I like Cleveland, but I'm not going to bet it. St. Louis goes to Houston. Houston's playing like shit. Houston minus 135 and 9. Is Altuve playing? I looked in the box score the other day. He wasn't playing. I don't know if he's injured or not. Palantir for St. Louis, 4.80 ERA. McCullough for Houston, a 6 ERA. Without Altuve, I can't go over. I probably like St. Louis here, but I'm not going to play it. Texas and Seattle. What do we got? San Diego. The Mets are the only one in KC. Seattle, Texas. Seattle 129-7. Uvalde with the 5.57 ERA against George Kirby with the 3.33. You would think this would be over. You never know these teams if they score or not. It's crazy. So Seattle's not playing good ball at all, but Uvalde sucks. I would take Seattle over 7. I'm not betting that. There's not a lot to bet here. Atlanta, Philly. We got Chris Sale going for Atlanta. I like him. Philly's minus 120-7. Chris Sale 3.27 against Sanchez 2.05. I like this game under 7. 2 units on this. I will bet this. Philadelphia is hitting terribly. I think Sale will shut him out for his 6 innings. Toronto goes to Arizona. Arizona minus 144-9. Scherzer going for Toronto with his 9.90 ERA. That's like Verlander. His ERA was so high he faked an injury to get out of it. Against Zach Gallen with the 3.60. I'm not trusting Scherzer's 9.99 ERA. I know he's a better pitcher than that. Gallen 3.60. I'm going to take Arizona here. Minus 144, and I can't bet it. I don't want to bet against Scherzer. And then we got the Dodgers at Colorado, minus 282 and 11 is the total. Sheehan, 6 ERA against Feltner. So this game I will go over. LA over 11, and that's 2 units. San Diego goes to California. San Diego got their 6-game winning streak snapped yesterday. San Diego minus 107.9. Marquez with the 5.54 against Kikuchi, who stinks. This game I will take over. Over 9, 2 units. Okay. So we're now taking, we weren't going to take the Yankees, but KC's on a 5-game losing streak, and they're bad on the road. So we will take the Yankees. Will Warren 2.50. Okay. So we got the Yankees minus 156, 2 units. We got the Cubbies betting against the Mets on their 9-game losing streak, 4 units. Boston, I really don't want to bet against Skubal in his 5 innings. So we're going to go under 7 for 2 units. Detroit is a weak road team, but we'll see. Boston's nothing great. Pittsburgh, Paul Skeens going minus 150. We'll go 2 units there. Atlanta under 7. We got Sale, and Philadelphia is not hitting. The Dodgers over 11, 2 units, 2 terrible pitchers in that game. And LA got like 5 hitters hitting above 275. And then San Diego over 9, 2 bad pitchers. So that's 3, that's 7 plays. And that's a conservative day. And these are very small bets. Don't risk a lot on them. But I do like them based on the pitchers or the streaks or any variable I can get. So I'm looking at trends. I'm looking at variables. So the variable in the Pittsburgh change, Scanes is going today. Ah, okay. How the fuck's AI going to do that? Right. So you see Scanes. Is AI looking at the Mets losing 9 in a row, picking whoever they're playing, the Cubbies? Is AI, can AI look at that? I don't know. I doubt it. Anyway, so it's games like that. We're taking Scanes. We're staying away from Scooble because he's a quitter and a loser, and I don't like to bet it. Um, I'm sorry, I would not pay this guy $5. Is he a good pitcher? I don't know. He doesn't. He pitches 5 innings. I mean, I can't really say he's a good pitcher. Well, he won the Cy Young. That's because there's no pitchers out there. How many real good pitchers are there? Ranger Suarez, Scanes. I don't know if Fried's a good pitcher. He gave up 10 runs the other day. I mean, what do you got? Scherzer, he's old. Verlander's done. I mean, you don't really have good pitchers. So, oh boy, it's like when New England was winning the Super Bowl, beating Carolina. It's like, really, this is a very weak competition. That's why you like Montana. He had to beat the '84 Bears. He had to beat Lawrence Taylor. He had to beat the Rams. He had to beat the Redskins. Even the first game, he had to beat the Cowboys, and then he goes into the Super Bowl. 2 Cincinnati's, a Denver, and and the Miami with Dan Marino. He beat good teams. That's Joe Montana. Just to get to the Super Bowl, they had to beat the Redskins, the Cowboys, the Giants, the Bears. I mean, he's beaten great teams, but that's not, so Scooble is nothing. There's no pitchers, so he's decent. He's not great. He's a quitter, which really hurts him. I mean, this is a guy that doesn't know how to, he's not a winner. He doesn't want to finish the game. Fuck him. I don't want to get hurt. Then go work at the grocery store or go play tennis. If you're not a baseball player, then get the fuck out. But don't sit there and tell me how good you are. You want $40 million for 10 years? Well, good luck. Who's the idiot that's going to pay that? What, the Dodgers are going to pay it? And then they're going to want him to pitch more than 5 innings. He's going to say, well, I can't. I'm a baby. I hate people that are not passionate about what they do. If you're going to do what you do because you're passionate about it, and if you're in it for the money, go fuck off. And that's my point. He should not come out of the game and only pitch 5 innings. I'm sorry, that's bullshit. Well, that's the way it is now. Well, then that's bullshit. Nothing changes. Poker's the same. Football's the same. Baseball's the same. You can make changes, but they're not good. You can use analytics, go for it on 4th down. It doesn't work. And no, you didn't change it. At the end of the day, Seattle won with the great defense in the running game, and that's never changed. The Packers did that in the 60s. Paul Hornung, Jim Taylor, and the great defense. And the Steelers did it in the 70s, and the Niners did it in the 80s, and Jimmy Johnson did it at Miami, of Florida, and in the 90s with the Cowboys. New England did it when they had a good defense. The Ravens did it with their defense. The Steelers did it with their defense. Nothing changes. Seattle, great running game, great defense. Nothing changes. You can make, we're going to pass more because they can't figure out the defense at the end of the day. If you can't run and you can't play defense, you don't win. That's why the Lions have always been a mystery to me. They always want to get the offense, and they'll draft the receivers in the first round, and Barry Sanders, Calvin Johnson, and then you never draft a defense, and they never win, and they never will win because the game is to stop the other people. The Vikings, they don't have a quarterback, but they always have a killer defense. So that's the key to it, right? And that's why the Lions lose every year. That's why everybody gets excited. Oh, look at the Lions. They need an offensive lineman. No, they don't. They need defense. First of all, Hutchinson's got a broken leg, and you're playing him and paying him like his leg never was broken. Huge problem. Your secondary's out. You're off. Your defensive line sucks. You give up 30 points a game, and yeah, they're going to win the division. In what world are they going to win the division? They don't have the defense. Meanwhile, Green Bay gets Micah Parsons, and well, Baltimore would have got Crosby, but he's injured. So Oakland's really fucked. They need Reuben Bain, and then Baltimore gets the guy from Cincinnati, Hutchinson. So we'll see. Now he's, I think, more healthy, but the key there is Joe Burrow. So you win with defense. Period. That's it. You don't have a defense, you don't have a chance. I don't care how good your offense is. Doesn't matter. Same thing in college. Indiana had a good defense. Ohio State, Miami. Those are the teams. Ole Miss lost because they didn't have a defense. So that's why I question whatchamacallit, the coach there. He's now at LSU. It'll be the same thing. They'll be high scoring. They'll be an over team, and they won't have defense. Anyway, so you're looking at different variables and everything. As we looked at money, the variable is they print too much. The variable is they're not on the gold standard. What the fuck? The banks will start going out. So how does a bank work? A bank works on getting interest from people. So they loan out money and get interest. That's why I get all these calls for loans, because they want to loan me money because they know I'm going to pay them the interest back, and these banks are in trouble. So when the banks call me for a loan, it's because I'm able and willing to pay back. And if the bank can't get paid back or can't loan out their money, they go broke. The bank's problem now is getting paid back. They have, especially the bullion banks, with all these options out, these 74 million tons of options in silver, which there's only 1 million to physical. How do you pay off 75 million tons of silver that don't exist? So they're going to have to pay, and they're going to go broke. Except for JP Morgan, he'll find a way not to go broke. So that's really what you have with the banks. So a lot of the banks are going to collapse. Also, as we're in a recession, people will lose their jobs, won't pay their mortgage, won't pay their car payments. The banks are the ones in trouble. They don't want to own houses, and they don't want to own cars. Now let's establish this between BlackRock and Chase Manhattan. Chase is a bank. They loan money. They want to get interest in. So a bank basically creates loans. Problem is they don't have money to create them. They print it out of thin air, which puts more money into the system, which is inflation. BlackRock and Apollo and these are not banks. They're more, what do you call them? Sort of like investment companies, something like that, where people give them money to invest, and then they buy stocks or bonds or something with the money. Private equity, that's what they're called, or investment banks. And so they don't really have money. People think that BlackRock is rich. They're not. It's not their money. It's people giving them money to invest. So people are like really stupid. They don't know what's going on. I want to make money with my money, but I'm too stupid to do it. So I'm going to give my money to BlackRock. And these are pension funds and 401ks, insurance companies. And you invest the money for me. Now, unlike Madoff, I believe they're making actual trades. But they don't know what they're doing. They're probably Keynesians. So they're losing a lot of money. But they still owe the people. So if if Warren Buffett gives $10 billion to BlackRock, or let's say Saudi Arabia gives $100 billion to BlackRock to invest for them, because they're a country, and they do that, BlackRock better make money. Because if BlackRock loses money and can't pay this $100 billion back to Saudi Arabia kills them. They're not going to take that shit. It's, you got to make me money. So BlackRock really doesn't have their own money. They have other people's money. And so that's where everything, like Apollo, like I was working at Tenneco for a few months, and they were selling off pieces to me. That's how their strategy is to make money, by laying off people, killing companies, and buying the whole and selling the pieces off. And everybody gets laid off. This is the best they can come up with for making money. They've ruined Vegas, where they're coming in, they're saying, hey, you know what, we can make money. See, they have to make money because people are giving them their money, and they won't get any more money if they can't make money. So people are giving them money, and what do they do with it? Well, shit, how do we make money at the casino? Oh, we'll charge for parking and resort fees. And, you know, alcohol, we can probably charge more for, and food, let's charge more for that, and convenience fees and resort fees. Let's charge all these fees. We can make more money. This is how stupid they are. Well, you can only make more money. It's P times Q. No, it's Q. It's quantity times price, right? So it's the movie store, right? You go to the movie, you charge $5, you get 100 people. So you make $500. But what if we charge 10? Well, you're not going to get 100 people. And maybe you get 50 people. And so you get $500 that way, which is better. The 100 at 5 or the 50 at 10? Well, the better is 100 at 5, because they're going to buy food and drinks, and I get the tickets. So I get 100 tickets. So it's better to get more people in than less. Well, but if we get 51 people, we make $5, we make $10 more. Yeah, but we lose on the food. And that's what Vegas doesn't understand. They want to make money on the parking and that. So they're assuming price is going to go up because we're going to make money on the food, the drinks, the parking, the resort fees. But then your queue goes down. You go from 1 million people to 200,000 people. And as people see what's happening, you go to zero, which is what's happening now. You get very little play there at Vegas. So you bring in events like that car race, and then you try to bring in the Sphere, and you try to bring in the Oakland A's and the Oakland Raiders, and you're bringing in to get the quantity up, because people don't want to just come because of all this other bullshit. Well, maybe they'll come for the Oakland A's or this Formula One race or the Sphere. Nah, nobody's coming for the Oakland A's. Reggie Jackson's not there. Catfish Hunter can't be. None of these guys are there anymore. You're not going to get any more people to come in. You're fucking around with parking and resort fees. So you basically lying to people. Well, we're going to charge you $40 for the room. You get there and you pay $140. Well, it's resort fee. No. I agreed to $40 a room, not $140. Fuck you, I won't come back. So you're pissing the people off, which you shouldn't be doing, and you're making sure you don't have any resort fees, return customers. People then not go to you, and then all the rich people. And they say there's only like 200 whales in the world who bet like $1 million a day, and they're going to Macau. If you got that much kind of money, you go to Macau. You don't go to Vegas where they're going to fuck around with you. You want part of it is you want to get the perks. You want the free room. You don't want to pay for parking. You want to get the comp dinners and stuff. So what are you doing? I was watching a Vegas thing, and in the 90s, well, in the 60s and 80s and 90s, when the mafia was running it, when it was really run well, you had the cheap meals because they knew you would lose the money playing gambling. And that was their strategy. We want a lot of people in. We give you a cheap food and free drinks. We want you to relax and lose money gambling. And that works. And now you got these idiots, the AI analytic guys going, oh, you can charge for parking and that. Oh, why would that be a problem? Because you won't have anybody there, but they can't see the other side. We go for a 4th and 1. Well, if you don't make it, you lose the game. How about that, fella? Well, you should go because, the analytics say it's good to go for it. And again, these people thinking analytics actually works without questioning, does analytics work? Analytics is just averages, right? It doesn't work. Even if we're looking at averages, what do I look at? I look at batting averages and I go, this team's got 7 hitters hitting under 220. The White Sox, I don't expect a lot of runs for them yet. There's some games they go over, they score 6 runs, even though the guy who's hitting 140 got 3 hits. Shouldn't, but he did. That's analytics, is looking at the averages. Well, I got a lefty's on the mound. I got to bring in a righty. Well, your lefty's hitting 300. The righty's hitting 0. Yeah, but analytics says the lefty won't hit the lefty and the righty. Which lefties are you talking about? Which left-handed pitchers are you talking about? Which right-handed hitters are you talking about? I don't know. It's just there. And this is the problem with it. And the variables, they have no idea. So where I want a lot of people in Vegas at my casino to gamble and not make $100 blackjack machines, to do that, I need people in, but I'm pushing them out with all these extra fees. I heard Caesars got rid of poker. Are they out of their fucking minds? How do you not have a poker table, a poker room? Well, people aren't coming. It's not because of poker. It's because of your parking and your resort fees and your expensive drinks and your expensive food. You have this whole mall that I show you at Caesars. So you have the Forum shops at Caesars. Where are they? So you have these Forum shops at Caesars, right? The Blue Sky, Pegasus. There's a better view of it. Well, that's based on people coming to gamble and eat and drink and watch football and play poker. And then they get a little bored and they go here and they go shopping. And you always have a Blue Sky. But if you don't have anybody gambling, what happens to this? This is a major revenue source, but nobody's coming here to shop. They are coming to gamble, watch the football game, maybe have dinner. Hey, let's go shopping. And by keeping the people out, you've totally killed this mall. because you're fucking idiots trying to make $5 on parking. You're trying to get price up, but your quantity is zero. And then you lose the shopping, the food, and the drinks. And that's what these idiots don't understand. And so Vegas, where they grew on getting people in and cheap, steak and shrimp for $2 to get you in to gamble, because they knew if you're coming for that, you're going to go play $5 blackjack and we'll make money on you. And now it's like they're keeping people out and they don't understand the repercussions. Nobody wants to pay for parking. They're going to park somewhere else, and then they're not going to come in. Blackjack's blackjack. I don't need to play it at Caesars if you're going to charge me $4 for parking. So go fuck off. How stupid are these guys running these casinos? And then BlackRock comes in and puts on a real estate trust. So now Caesars doesn't even own Caesars anymore. They owe an investment company their rent. And so they charge more to cover their rent, which they can't cover. So I think the Chinese are behind it, and they're going to buy all these casinos for $5 or 2 ounces of gold or something. But these people running these companies have their heads so far up their asses, they don't know what they're doing. And it started with this guy, Gary something, a Harvard like statistic teacher, and he kind of came up with the analytics of I want people to sit at the machines longer. If they sit at the machines longer, they'll lose more money. And they built these casinos with ugly rugs and curves and no clocks to keep you in and keep you gambling. And they totally missed the point. That has nothing to do with anything. The real reason we went to Vegas when I turned 21, and I went earlier, was the lights were very attractive, which stimulated things in you. You go, wow, this is real pretty. The freedom you had, you could walk around, you get very cheap meals, you could play $5 blackjack, you could bet the football games, you could just go and enjoy yourself, right? Girls were there, football, poker, little blackjack, cheap meals. That's why you went. That whole experience, the whole freedom, right? You got freedom out of it, right? You had the money. Freedom is about money, right? If I have no money, I can't fly, I can't stay at a hotel, I can't eat. I basically die. So I need money, which equals freedom. Now gold and silver are money equals freedom the same way. And so to enjoy our lives and have freedom, we now need gold and silver. We can't rely on money. They fucked it. But in Vegas, that's what they did. They got rid of all the stardust, the lights and everything, the DI. I used to walk from Caesars to the DI, and I would chip and putt. I'd bring my wedge and my putter and 5 golf balls, and I'd go to the putting green, and I'd putt and chip for like an hour, and then I'd go play blackjack, and then I'd have lunch. And then I'd walk back to Caesars. I think I drove there, and then I'd make football bets or baseball bets because it was in the summer. And then or basketball, and then I would come back to Caesars or wherever I was staying, and then the games would win, and I'd walk back to collect, and I did it every night, and it was great. I was there for like a week, and it was best on Tuesday, Wednesday. There was nobody there, and it was freedom. It was exciting. I mean, the girls, you could see pretty girls, and you could see good food and good free drinks, and you could gamble, and the lights were pretty. Everything you wanted in a free life. This is great. This is exactly the life that, it's perfect. There's no 40 hours. There's no getting up for work. You can stay up as long as you want and gamble. You could watch the sport. You're watching your football, baseball game. You're eating inexpensive. And that's when it was $20, $20 filled your cart. And they've taken all that away, but they don't even understand it. Oh, we want people at the table longer. No, people like me, we got like a $500 limit. If I could play poker, I bring $300, maybe four, and that's it. If I lose it, I'm gone. However, if I win it, I'll quit a winner and then I come back. Maybe I'll lose 150, 200. I'm not catching cards. I quit and come back with another two or 300. If I played blackjack, I was playing $60 and it would give me 12 chances at the $5 table to catch a streak. And usually I'd catch the streak with 12 chances. And I would go when I feel lucky. But it had nothing to do with keeping me there longer. I never played the slots because that was a sucker bet. And so I would, if I played blackjack, or I might play roulette, red or black. I tried to be very smart about it, but I would limit. I'm playing $60. That's it. I can afford it. That's when I'm playing. I'm not trying to win $1 million, which is also they put in your mind. And you would play as long as you wanted to. There would be no, you weren't like playing for the action. I was playing to win. So people who wanted the action will play the slot machines and they're trying to keep you at the slot machines. They totally missed the point. It is not about keeping people there longer. People will go because they want the action because they want the action. That's why people go, and you got rid of the lights, which hurt. You made it too expensive. You made the food and drinks too expensive. You're charging for the parking, the resort fees. Well, I won't stay with you. And you've taken the freedom away. And that's basically what you've done. They've taken the freedom out of it, which is the whole point of going, was the freedom. You can see hot girls. You can see, not hot girl. You can eat and drink, and everything. I can gamble. The lights, the numbers, the gambling, the chips were why you would go, and they've killed it all. Making $50 blackjack. Well, we'll make more. Again, that's price goes up, but quantity goes down. We won't have anybody at the table, but it'll be $50. So when they do play, we'll make more money. Yeah, but the quantity of players goes down. You will not have a full table of $50 players. You might have one guy, and he's probably a professional, and he's probably going to win off of you. So the mafia knew what they were doing. They wanted you in the casino, free drinks, very inexpensive food, buffets. We'll get you there, and then you're going to gamble because the colors and the lights, and it's exciting. And you've taken that away, and you've ruined it. It's the same thing with the Tesla, with the electric car. I want a gas-powered car. I like filling the car up once in 8 or 9 days, and there's gas stations all over the place. I like that. I do not like this. I do not like an electric car. What if it stalls? What if it catches on fire? What if I can't find a charging station? What if I have to charge it every day? I got more important things to do every day. Right now, it takes me all of about, I would say, 3 minutes to find a gas station and fill it up. And I'm done for 8, 9 days. Right? With an electric car, I got to worry, will it start, heat and cold? Will it do that? Will it catch on fire? Will I have to charge it every day? Now it's a charging thing. I charge this every fucking day. I charge my laptop every fucking day. Because after you use it, the battery doesn't hold charge and it goes. There's nothing you can do. Batteries don't hold charges. So to come up with a battery car is the stupidest idea I've ever heard. Oh, let me pay $90,000 for it. Well, it's the environment. We're a planet. There's nothing that's going to hurt the environment. What a joke that is. You have more pollution in the water maybe, but then you filter the water out. But you've taken the freedom of the car away. The car's freedom. I can get in the car and go where I want. I can go drive to Ohio now. I can go up north. I can go to Vegas. I can drive to Florida. I'm free. I can go to the store. Which I'm going to do after. I think I need a little bit of stuff. But I can do all that. What I can't do Um, in the electric car is I couldn't even drive. I couldn't even go up north because I have to find a charging station. And you're monitoring me. Well, what's with all this monitoring, which I hate? You enjoy freedom. That's what we want. That's what we like. Vegas was freedom. Now is not freedom. Uh, you're killing the cars. What else are you killing? You're killing the money. So that's the basic freedom that we're all getting killed on is our dollars. They are not worth anything. And just look at go to the grocery store and can you really afford to go to the grocery store? Can you really afford to fill your cart up? I wonder how much it is if I actually went shopping and put steaks in my cart and tuna and Lucky Charms and Oreos and ice cream and butter and eggs and uh, filled the cart up, filled it to the rim. It cost me $500-600. You lose your freedom. That's the point. Everything we do is about freedom. Buying the gold and silver is about freedom. That's why you see in my titles a lot, gold and silver are freedom. The dollar is not, but people don't get it. People think they have a lot of money, that they have their freedom. So when they sit there and I got 500 grand in my 401k, they think it's freedom. I can retire. I hear these retirement shows. Well, you're going to put your money in stocks, growth stocks, and then you're going to put a percentage in dividend stocks. And you'll pull your dividends out, and that's how you're going to pay your rent and go on your trips. What if the stock market collapses? What if the dollar collapses? Oh, that can't happen. The dollar can't collapse. It's collapsed every time. I'll show you Egon again.
Gold and silver prices are a consequence of the world economy. That view is never going to change, whatever happens, because nothing can happen now that changes the long-term direction of fiat money. It always goes to zero without fail. In every single monetary system throughout history, it's gone to zero. In this system now, since 1913, when the Fed was founded, most currencies are down 99%. So we have that final 1% to go. But that final 1%, remember, is 100% from here. And that's going to happen. And that fall of 100% we are going to experience. And that obviously leads to massive debt growth, massive inflation, high interest rates, and a lot of problems in the world also. We are going to see.
The one thing he forgot to say is you lose your freedom. You don't want to be dependent on the government. And I got to wear a blue shirt to get money. Or I see now, if you got Medicare A and B, you get a food card and they'll pay for your groceries. They don't tell you the limit. They probably don't tell you you're going to get taxed on it. And it's only at CVS, which is very expensive, and at Walmart's. But why are you doing that? Because the money. So the money is freedom, but they don't tell you they're taking your freedom away. And that's the control part. You'll be dependent on the government to eat because you're not free anymore. You're now a slave to the government to do it because the money's worthless. So they're taking your freedom. Now you're going to buy gold and silver. He just said every currency in the history of life has gone to zero because these idiots print it, right? Why do you think Napoleon went to Russia? They were broke. As you know, France got broke in like the 1820s. And he went for the oil in Russia, just like Hitler did. Russia's very rich in oil, so, and gold and silver and diamonds. So that's why they went there, because they needed to steal the oil. And Russia's not going to let you steal it. But France lost their freedom. That's this whole miserables thing. That's the whole play. It's about the French Revolution because they were broke and they couldn't eat and they didn't have freedom. So we're basically fighting for freedom. We see Vegas took it away. and now there's nobody there. And they missed the basic premise. You want freedom. You want to be able to play poker, and you want to have free drinks and spend your money eating and shopping, which is fine, and betting on poker and betting on football. You want to have all those freedoms. That's why America was great. Now you're killing the dollar. You've taken the freedom away. We're all fucked unless you have gold and silver. And that's as clear as I can be on why you want gold and silver, because it's freedom. It's very undervalued. So JP Morgan, they do a good job at hiding by having all this, 76 million tons of silver, of fake paper silver versus $1.2 million. Could you imagine if we actually priced silver at $1.2 million? The value of silver would be $10,000. And the thing is, the dollars aren't worth anything. So it's really worth much more. So when the dollar does collapse, and it will, and they're going after your freedom, oh, you can buy stable coins. Well, that's not money. I can't go to Vegas with it. I can't use it, in any way. And, that's the problem with the digital money. Can you use Bitcoin? You want to go on a flight to Hawaii, go to Vegas and gamble? Good luck. They don't take Bitcoin. Nobody who has a brain takes Bitcoin because it's not real. So could you imagine if the gold price was 220,000 tons instead of 4.3 million tons? Could you imagine what the real value of gold and silver will be? And then could you imagine when the dollar goes out and they take your freedom away, everybody will go into gold and silver. Could you imagine what the price is? Because right now the price is in dollars, right? The price is priced in monopoly money. So we get rid of this. Now what's the price of gold and silver? Well, since it's money, the price goes to the moon, because now everybody comes in, but then they need a new price. We're not pricing it in dollars. We're just going to price it in gold and silver. And when they do that, you're the only one with freedom. So this is why we have the gold and silver. It's for freedom. And that's why they want to keep you in the stock market, keep you in the bond market, give you 5% in the banks. They want to keep you in the banks because the money's worthless. But you've been trained that the money's freedom. And you've been trained that this will buy you things. But when you go to the grocery store, it doesn't buy you anything. And you go, boy, everybody's raising their prices. No, this is losing value. This has no value. That's the whole point. The money is not have any value. You do not have any freedom. That's really the hidden agenda of what the government's doing is, well, we'll kill the money. We'll have all these wars that'll destroy the money because it's very expensive. The money goes out. And then we'll come out with, who knows, stable coin. Although BRICS countries are smart enough to see this and go, no, I want my people to have freedom. We're going gold. We're buying all this gold because gold is freedom. And Russia and China and India and Saudi Arabia and all these countries realize that, and that's what they're doing. I don't imagine much of they're going to invade Dubai and Saudi Arabia. They talk about it, but they're going to really go after Dubai? Are you kidding me? So Iran's not the bad guys here. The United States is. George Soros in particular is trying to bankrupt them. He'll make a lot of money on the shorts, but basically everybody will lose their freedom and they will be controlled because they need money to eat. And where they're going to get it from? The government will print up some bullshit money that'll have no value. Nobody wants our bonds, so we're going to have to move to a BRICS country where they're using gold and freedom is still available if we trust China and Russia. I don't mind trusting Putin. I don't know if I trust Xi, but I certainly trust Putin. I think he's a smart guy. I think he gets it. He has gold, so he knows you have to get into that as your money, gold and silver. Has got to be your money. It's got to be freedom. It's got to be people will want it. You can trade for it. You have to trade. China doesn't have any oil. They have to trade yuan backed by gold for oil. Every country needs something. Germany's like that too. They don't have any natural resources, so they have to trade for it, and you need money to trade for it. So you have to have good money. You can't have horseshit money. You won't be able to trade. So if you need something from China, but what are you going to pay them? Well, we'll give you the stable coin. No thanks. Bitcoin. Yeah, no thanks. Well, we used to have dollars of value, not anymore. So the only thing China will take is gold and silver. So you won't be able to trade with China. So you're not going to be able to get the GI Joe with the Kung Fu grip and all the other stuff. So this is the problem. You're losing your freedom, but of course they're not going to tell you that. Why aren't we on the gold standard? Because they think the money, they can just keep printing money, and they don't understand the money will lose its value, and therefore they'll lose their freedom also. The elites will lose their freedom because Warren Buffett with $20 billion will turn into zero, and he will lose his freedom. And that happens a lot. These kings and queens of these other countries, when they went broke too. So keep that in mind. The gold and silver are really freedom. They're much, much more than I'm going to make money on. That's why I sit there and laugh. This is not a profit-taking thing. This is the future of freedom. And if you fuck around and sell it, like I say, you need to pay for bills or go on a trip, you sell an ounce. All right, you're going to get 5,000 for it soon. And eventually you'll get 10,000 for it. And that's what you should sell, one or two. Like, so if you have 50, you put in at least 40 and you're never touching. And then the other 10, maybe you play with, but very carefully. I keep telling the girls, I says, hey, when I run out of this, I'm dead. So, and I know this is my freedom. And the girls don't get it. They go, well, it's worth so much. Why don't you sell it? And because the money I'm going to get's worthless and I'm going to lose my freedom. And I'm not about to lose my freedom. But I understand that and most people don't. And that's the problem. So that is your class today. Oh, shit, we haven't done basketball. My apologies. Let's do basketball. So let's see. Yesterday, we took Charlotte over. We didn't bet it. It didn't go over. We took Golden State over 219, and let's see what happened. And it didn't get there. It was 111.96 Phoenix. So the overs worked the first 4 days, and it didn't work yesterday. Golden State only got 96. Let's see if Seth Curry played. Steph Curry played 36 minutes, scored 17 points. Phoenix, I can't name any of their. They were pretty balanced. Booker, Green, Brook. I never heard of these guys. O'Neal, so pretty pathetic. All right, so let's see today's games. All right, so we've got 2 games today. Is that right? We've got Minnesota at Denver. Denver laying 6.5, 232. I like Denver here. We'll go 2 units. And Atlanta and the Knicks 5.5, 217. I like the over here. Atlanta over 217. It seems like a low number for 2 units. So 2 games. Minnesota, I would assume Anthony Davis will play. 6.5, 232. Yeah, Denver at Denver, I like. Now, what we do is we keep an eye on the series. So this is the first game. Normally, the home teams win the first game. The road team's trying to get a split. So we'll see what happens. if the home team goes down 0-1, they're a good bet in game 2 because they don't want to go down 0-2 and then have to go to the other team for 2 games. They're going to go 0-4 and they'll be done. Teams down 2-0 have to win. Teams down 3-1 have to win. And those are the games we love to bet on. The must-win back against the wall games, those are the ones we attack. A lot stronger. These games ones, we don't know. I think Atlanta scores a lot and the Knicks score a lot. So I think that's an over series. But again, I'm not taking the Knicks. However, if they lose game 1, then we bet them in game 2. And you get a better understanding of it. So they're both on Amazon, means they're not on TV, unfortunately. Let's see tomorrow if any game's on TV. Yes, tomorrow, Philly at Boston's on TV. At 1, the Suns and Oklahoma's on TV at ABC. The Magic and the Pistons are on TV on NBC at 6:30 and at 9 o'clock on TV. So the first 2 are on ABC, the next 2 are on NBC. Portland goes to San Antonio. So San Antonio and Oklahoma win. The Pistons get Orlando. They'll probably win that. And the Celtics, they'll kill Boston or will kill Philadelphia. So that's what we have coming up tomorrow. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed class. Thank you for the questions, all that. But that's the key. Vegas has taken the freedom, and the government's trying to take your freedom by killing the dollar with all the heavy inflation, which takes the value of the dollar. That's what the inflation does. Yes, we should be on the gold standard, but then they can't control us and they can't take our freedom, which is what these idiots in government want, these elitists and stuff like that, want to control us. I don't get what they're trying to do. They'll make the dollar worthless. They'll be poor. If they don't come out with a new dollar, it really won't matter. Gold's going to be the new dollar if they like it or not. They can't really control that. The rest of the world will take gold and silver and won't take US dollars. They don't need us to trade with us. China's pretty big, and Russia and these other countries, Japan, Thailand, Singapore, Hong Kong, they're pretty big. Some of the West, they're pretty big countries that have a lot of people and a lot of value. So they just need that. You keep seeing the poor because the dollars keep getting inflated and it hurts the poor. So if you did get onto the gold standard, you wouldn't probably have that many poor people as long as they had access to the gold and silver, because the value wouldn't drop. And that's really what kills everything. So that's class today. And enjoy your day. Enjoy your weekend. I move in 2 weeks from yesterday, so I'm excited. And we'll see what happens. Anyway, again, Russia is blocking Telegram, as Daria hasn't been on for 2 days. It's not like she's avoiding me. She's not been on. It says last time on was the 16th or whatever. So I'll hear from her soon. But again, they're trying to do war with these other Baltic states or whatever, so they got to keep their Telegram off. Anyway, that's what's going on. Hopefully these wars end, but they won't, because they just want to kill the dollar. They want to take your freedom. That's what these wars are about. It's terrible, but it's what Vegas is doing. They're taking your freedom. Why they don't want customers is beyond me. These are the dumbest guys I've ever seen. So what can we do? All right, www.teaserking.com. Have a great day. Enjoy it. Just hold your gold and silver. Understand it's freedom, and that's all you need to understand. It's freedom. That's what I'm going with. All right. Have a good day, everybody. Enjoy. Relax. www.teaserking.com. All right. Take care. Thank you.